Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike, the creator of the 1NELife podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The 1NELife podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities and creates an equal playing field for all. On the 1NELife podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the 1NELife podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 1NELife podcast. I am Mike MIC Reed, and as always, got my lovely co-host Diana Gotti from the AV Wellbeing Coalition in the building with us.
Hey.
And our special guest today is Nicole McMillan and Danielle Heller.
Hey. Yes, sir. Hey.
From the Joseph Project. How you ladies doing today? It's Friday.
It's Friday. We got a lot coming this weekend.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay, cool. What you doing this weekend?
What you doing this weekend?
What am I doing
We're
this
celebrating.
weekend?
Where the party at?
Well, my daughter, see.
There's a literal party.
There's a literal party. My daughter just turned 15, so we're celebrating her tomorrow.
Happy birthday to your daughter. What's her name?
Her name is Carmen with a K.
Carmen with a K. Hey, happy birthday.
Yes, sir.
Is that your only child?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you can call me Mike. You don't have to call me sir.
Yes, sir. Midwest. I'm from, what can I tell you?
Where you from?
Yeah.
Akron, Ohio.
Akron, okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I do that too. I'm a yes ma'am, yes sir. I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, okay.
That's just how you're raised. It's
It
like,
is.
what you mean you calling them by their name? What? Get it together.
Right. Like I'm not my dad.
No. Honestly, I think that's the flaws here in California. I was talking to my mom actually about that, about the culture. I said,
sure.
our generation is really killing our culture. By you saying the 15 for Hispanics, that's your quinceañera. That's a big step, from leaving your childhood, and becoming a young lady, into adulthood. And a lot of girls nowadays don't care to celebrate that, know. And I was telling my mom, like, our generation's killing that, but it's tradition. It really is.
She's half Mexican, and she wanted one.
Yeah,
and I took on the yes, we're gonna do it till I realized all of
It's
what
like
that
a whole
was.
wedding.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh.
But that's why you have padrinos for all of that, girl. That's where you get in the phone book and be like, you remember that one time I did you that? Okay, what can I put you down for? Girl, come with your paper.
Flowers.
Is that how you do it?
Hell yeah, that's exactly how you do it.
I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Yes, ma'am.
So we settled on the Sweet 16.
There you go. Yeah, for the limousine, the photographer, girl, everything. But again, it's tradition. Like when you know that a child is coming around that age, you're going to be asked. So, yeah.
Cool. What you got going on this weekend?
It's funny I actually don't have much. We were talking about going to the snow.
Y'all partied last week.
Yeah. We had a little getaway at Pismo Beach.
Nice.
One of
you
my
didn't tell me
favorite
about that.
places.
Oh, yeah. Well, we stayed out there. I told you we were going to pick Melody up Sunday. So I was so disconnected, and I really took it in, and it was so warm. People were out there in bathing suits, in the beach, shorts, dresses, and honestly, I really took all of that in. I haven't been present in a while. So much going on, and we had a room right on the coast, and we literally were just listening to the waves crash.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And it was nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed myself.
What you got going on with the AV Wellbeing Coalition? Any news?
So with the AV Wellbeing Coalition, we are looking to hopefully apply for a grant so we can do more workshops at our local schools. I just did one over at Sage for GEMS. Nice. So thank you, Jessica, for having us. And I did that with another classmate, Miss Tamika Knight. And it was really beautiful because we were teaching these young girls about gratitude. That's good. So I really look forward to being able to just be available for more schools.
That's really
awesome.
good.
Yeah. So, and the new CAP program starting in April. So I really hope and encourage everyone to, log into the city of Palmdale and apply for this certification, apply positive psychology. And it's not necessarily for business people. It's really for everyone. It's life-changing.
Yeah.
It's tools for our toolbox. And that's actually where I met Nicole.
Yay.
So you get to actually meet really amazing people in our community.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait to start my what's the session?
Yes. Well, it's 6 months.
Or is it 6 months?
Yeah, so it's a 6-month course, and you meet twice a month on a Friday and on a Thursday and a Friday, and then you meet every Wednesday on Zoom.
Okay.
So you really start to kind of get to know everyone.
It becomes a family.
It really does. You talk about really intimate things and that are very simple, but I guess we don't really focus on that, or we tend to overlook it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that my biggest takeaway from that course or that whole season was just that I don't know that we're mindful that we don't have well-being in play. Like, you remember when we first went in, it was like, we're learning what? Like, maybe I'm not well in that area. Let me take some time and, work on my personal.
Yeah.
And so I really love that movement for the Antelope Valley. We need more discussions about that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. Don't you guys got something else coming up with the veterans?
Oh, yes. So March 18th, there is a welcome home breakfast for the Vietnam veterans that another one of our classmates, Alejandro, is doing with Boots on the Ground.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's going to be taking place on March 18th, and hopefully everyone can make it out. It's called Ponce Square.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well,
I think that's
Ponce.
Yes, yeah. So it's right in front of City Hall. So I encourage everyone to come out. There's going to be a caravan of all of our vets coming back in.
Nice.
So we're going to have the privilege of welcoming them home the right way.
Oh,
So
that's good.
Nice. And we are 1 week away, you guys. 1 week away from the Antelope Valley. I'm off today. The Antelope Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce 26th Installation Gala. Join us as we go down the rabbit hole on March 3rd, next Friday, you guys, next Friday. Tickets are still on sale. We have a few left. So you guys contact me, email me, DM me. I'll personally give you your tickets because I think I have maybe 5 left, I think I have 5 left.
Oh, okay.
I have 5 tickets left. So hit us up next Friday, you guys, in 26th Installation Gala for the Antelope Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And that'd be it. For my news, I ain't got nothing else for nobody.
There you go.
I'm short today. It's Friday. It's
Friday.
early, you guys. It's 9 a.m. I've never done a 9 a.m. show.
Hey.
Even though I'm up at 5:30 in the morning every morning.
What?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get Diana to get up too.
No, I'm up here's the thing. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
You know,
so our mornings are consumed.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I do a lot better in mornings, just so you know. Yeah.
So should we switch this to morning?
Honestly, it's not a bad idea. I was even outside early doing my makeup.
But you know what I noticed though? She beat me here. So mornings might be the thing.
Okay.
It really is. I think midday you start to kind of stir away, right?
Down a little bit.
Yeah, you get that plunge.
For season 3, season 3 is coming up too in a few weeks, maybe around April, I think. So we might switch it up.
That's cool.
And we're gonna start going live.
Hey.
Wow.
Okay.
We're gonna start
be
going
ready.
live. So season 3, we're gonna start going live.
On YouTube or?
No, on IG.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that screen right there behind us into use.
Oh, good.
So we're gonna go live. We're gonna have people call in
And interacting.
and
That's
interacting.
good.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that whole thing. So I'm looking forward to that. So, anyways, let's get back to the guests here.
Yes.
The
With
Joseph
Miss
Project. Nicole and Danielle.
And Danielle, yeah.
So who wants to talk about the Joseph Project?
Our president.
Hey.
President. But wait a minute, aren't you the CEO founder?
I am.
Okay. But it's the president job.
Well, technically, I guess that would be my technical title. And it's so interesting because part of what I do is I establish for-profit and nonprofit entities. And before, in establishing nonprofits, you had the president, vice president. They have switched those titles to CEO and COO, and so they don't really use the traditional titles anymore.
Okay.
So when you said that, it was kind of like, well, I'm sorry, just keep hearing stuff.
It's okay.
But yes, so the Joseph Project, it's actually something that the Lord gave me 2019, right before COVID hit. I was at a church at the time, and we were doing some things in the community. But also, I was establishing a lot of nonprofits in the San Antonio Valley, and I still do. I established a lot of them. And what I started recognizing was that they were doing okay, but they weren't making a whole huge impact. And the more I started working at this church and working in the community, I realized, let's come together. And the Lord started showing me that we'll do better together. And so I wanted, and at the time I was like, let's just get something where we can bring everyone together to do something huge in the San Antonio Valley. And at the time, homelessness was really the big thing. It was really bad. And it's still bad, but I was looking to try to be able to make impact there. And so as I thought, but then COVID hit and everything shut down. And so early part of last year, the Lord brought it back up to me and said now was the time for the Joseph Project. And so we got together with Nicole and other entrepreneurs and nonprofit owners and founders. And the point of the Joseph Project is not to be a super nonprofit, because we all have something else that we do. There's not one person on our board that this is what they do. They all have their own businesses. They all have their own organizations that they're pushing. And so we decided, so we got together, and our focus is to help build businesses in this community. Because after COVID, that was probably the big thing. We did have the EIDL loans, and we had, the PPP loans. But for some business owners, that still wasn't enough. And now we're needing to pay them back. At least.
Right.
And that's a whole nother situation. And so you got this large sum of money. Now you have these large repayments. So what we want to do is help build businesses, small businesses and nonprofits. We want to be able to grant them money to where they can, not have to jump through a whole lot of red tape to get a grant. As a nonprofit, you have to have a certain amount of deliverables be established for a certain amount of years, and there are so many requirements with the current system of getting grant money. And for most for-profits, they don't even try, though there is money available for for-profits. So we want to be able to support and undergird both, and be able to have where we become the grantors in the San Antonio Valley to some degree to help be able to build the other entities here.
That's amazing.
I love that.
And so we started off by asking for community support. We're looking to get 100 businesses, organizations to partner with us for $10 a month. If we had that, that's $12,000 a year, where every quarter we can give $3,000 to somebody, to a business, a local small profit or a local nonprofit, or split it between the two. But more and more, and I believe that as people see us doing that, and they see, they're really giving this money. They're really doing this because our whole focus is to give to the community as community people, to nominate small businesses, nonprofits. We then vet them, and then we will then grant or give endowments right now. No strings attached. So, and in the meantime, we're building to where, because I believe we'll have investors and those who will donate, to where we can grant thousands and more dollars, to where we'll have processes in place for that as well.
I love that. We were just talking about that at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is one of our things that we're trying to change as well, is that there's so many businesses out here, and even like nonprofits, and our thing is, hey, let's come together, because this is a small community. It's a big community, but a small community, right? But if everybody is doing a million different things, it's like this small community out here can't, support everybody. Like for instance, if you want to donate to something, you're going to have your favorites, right?
Yeah.
But if we come together as one and kind of put it all in one pool, or at least a couple of pools, then everybody will donate to that, opposed to spreading it out. It makes sense?
Yes.
For sure.
Like even with like the events, there's so many events out here, like small events, but I can't go to all of them. You can't go to all of them, right? Yeah. So whenever you ask somebody, how'd your event go? And they're like, it was okay.
Yeah.
But if we come together and do just a couple of big events,
right,
then everybody can go to it. Then you ask, hey, how was the event? Right. Oh, it was great. It was a great turnout. Yeah. Because you're spreading yourself so thin. right? And it's the same way in like the foundations and the businesses.
Yeah.
So if we all come together. But I don't know how to do that because I'm new out here. I've been out here for 4 years now.
Oh, okay.
But everybody, how can I say this nicely? It's like everybody wants to be like the chief.
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
enough
see,
Indians.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so everybody wants the recognition, I guess, the titles. It's like it's not about that. If you
right.
truly want to help people, like the titles and because you created a name doesn't matter.
For sure.
That's why every time we talk on this show, like I never bring up like my name. I said it in the beginning, but you don't ever hear me talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not about me. Like even like today, it's about you ladies. Like this show is not about us. So that's what I feel like. If people will start humbling themselves and take the ego out of it,
Yeah.
Yes,
we can make a bigger impact.
For sure. We agree with that. That's definitely a mindset shift. I don't know that
Yeah.
everyone's on that page.
No.
But if we were, we could do so much more, right?
No, and you know what? I actually I had lunch yesterday with one of your good friends. 'Cause I even saw one of your videos that you
okay.
support her, Darlene Trevino.
Oh, yes.
So me, Darlene, I'm a director for the Chamber of Commerce, and she is
Yes,
as well. So me and her had lunch yesterday, and we was actually having a similar conversation about how do we, not change someone's mindset because we can't control people, right?
Right.
So what we have to do is just be an example as leaders. We all have our own companies, right? But we also have to be an example. 'Cause
Yeah.
we can't change people, can't control people. But if we are the example, and hopefully that rubs off on people when they see it, then that's how we do it. But it takes time to do that,
Yeah. But what we learn is you have to be the change you want.
right?
You know, there's only so much that you can do by putting out, but by setting up. Actually, I love what you're doing because that's also giving other nonprofits just, I guess, inspiration to keep pushing. And, finances can always be a burden on some people, but the heart's in the right place. But the fact that they can apply, and did you say people can nominate as well?
Yes, ma'am.
To receive that? So that's even bigger because it's not just about you wanting, this money is about somebody believing in you, believing in what it is that you want to give back to our community.
Exactly. So what we call the local businesses in the local nonprofits are superheroes because they're championing things in our community. You're a small business. You're helping to build by bringing, helping the economy. And so in nonprofits, the community drive that they're going after, that helps to push our community better. So if we can help them, how much more will our community grow?
Yeah.
And to your point, what you said, sir, about, how do we do that with consistency? If we're consistent, and that's what we want to be able to do with the Joseph Project, we want to be consistent with this every quarter, giving something what we can with the donations we get until we do get those donors and philanthropists that'll just pour into this, because I believe they'll come and they'll get behind this because we'll be consistent with making sure that we're reaching those organizations, getting the message out, and then people will start saying, you know what? There's a nonprofit that's in this park giving food every third Saturday. Can we nominate them? Because I think if they have more money, they could probably help more people. And so we want to be able to do that and get more community support behind it as well. Yeah. And then the nonprofits and local business owners will see the impact they're making as well, not just to their bottom line, but to the people.
Right. And it's such a good small community here in the Antelope Valley that it's not that hard, to work together. It's just like Mike was saying, is putting all the ego aside and all the differences and actually coming together for the bigger great, what it is, what the purpose is, behind that. And actually someone did correct me when I was saying small businesses. They say they're not small businesses because that's where you stay. It's a mindset. It's a thriving business.
That's good.
Wow.
And that's big too, because we want to, we want to already put ourselves in that position. We don't want to keep ourselves small-minded, right?
Yes.
Because if that's what you're speaking, then that's what you're going to always stay and be. So,
and you know what? Honestly, I think all week I actually been thinking about that.
About what didn't I tell you that?
No, I was here when the lady said it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were. It
He's
was
like, I was here.
Yeah, it was
Hey,
at
you know
the.
what? Sometimes
it was,
Diana has her back to her.
No,
She
but-
don't even recognize me over here.
It was at the Ashley. It was at the Ashley.
Yeah.
Art
Okay, right.
Exhibition.
But I was there
right.
too, though.
Yes. We were both there, and then I told them, I was like, "Dang," she kind of corrected me on that. I was like, "My bad," but it
good,
stuck
though.
with
Oh,
me.
your phone.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, you go. But no, but anyway, I was thinking about that all week because it makes sense, right? But the reason why I was thinking about it is because, I do marketing and I do brand marketing as well as, as a career. The reason why they did it was just marketing purposes, right? Because it's Small Business Saturday. It just sounds better, flows better, right? So
Right.
I think, I forgot the word you replaced it with. Like, you can't use that in a marketing sense because it just didn't make sense or it didn't flow right.
Oh, the thriving.
So right, but my point to it is when you think about marketing now, because everything is business and marketing, but you have to apply that now. Like when you're telling somebody whatever name you come up with, what you say is what you believe in.
Yeah,
what
for
come you manifest. So. I think in the marketing world now, people have to take that in consideration. Like they have to apply that as well, opposed to just, this is a great name, this is a great phrase, it flows well, but you're not thinking of consequences behind it.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's
No,
really good.
I mean, even with the balloons, for a while I was kind of pushing away from that, and I continued to say, it's small. And then now that I correct myself and say thriving, I'm actually getting busy again. Right. And I thought to myself, like, dang, that's actually a really nice shift, because when I kept saying like, it's just, I would downplay it. It's just, a small, or I just do it for fun. That's where I was keeping myself, but I think I was kind of setting a blanket, like to protect myself from failing. But in fact, I mean, if I don't take, the gamble and the chance in it, how do I know what will come from it? But it's been actually rewarding these last few kind of weeks that I have had things going on again. I was like, this is actually great. And I have to shift my mind and to stop thinking that I'm just that, that I'm not good enough, and just say, actually, I do have a thriving business, because I started that out of nothing, honestly. Remember? Yeah, with the balloons and now the podcast. And even over the weekend, as I was looking at the ocean, I had to kind of, give myself some gratitude and tell myself, not a lot of people do what I do.
Yeah.
I literally just woke up and I was like, all right, I'm going to start a balloon business. And it was thriving.
You do the balloons?
I do the balloons.
Was you the one that night of worship that did that?
No, that's not me. Yeah.
Okay.
She does stuff like that and more.
Yeah.
I've heard your name. I think I'm
Balloons by
Nicole
Gotti.
and Erica. Do you work with Erica?
Yeah,
Birdie?
I did Erica.
Then that's where I heard your name.
Yes, yeah. And that's how, and I came in contact with such a great, amazing people through that. And it actually gave me the right push in the right direction, because through the balloons, I met Mike.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so that's how you guys
That's how, and it allowed me to step into my greatness. Where actually the first businesswomen of God, they asked me, what would you like me to pray for you about? And this was in January, and it was the first of the month. And I said, stepping into my greatness.
Nice.
However, I haven't been thinking about that until literally this last weekend. And I love that there are organizations like the Joseph Foundation, right?
Joseph
Project, I'm sorry, that is going to give that inspiration to people, even like me, that I continue to talk about the youth. The youth.
Yes.
But then I think to myself, how can I even afford this? How can I even make this come to life? So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
And also to Mike's point of like marketing as a message versus a slogan or a tagline, I think that's going to continue to help build our community as well, as if we're more cognizant on our marketing efforts. When stuff goes out, like our flyer for this Joseph Project event, Superhero Saturday wasn't just catchy, but it was that message of, this is how we view our local businesses, this is how we view our nonprofits, this is who you are, and speaking to that identity and calling that out, as opposed to like another resource event. right? And so I'm passionate about that as well. Like, how can we use graphics, visuals, audio? How can we use our marketing to call forth what we want to see in our valley? Because if we're just slapping stuff together, because we have all these creatives, right? And I can throw that together. It doesn't have that meaning. And I think that that's what's really needed is stuff like this, like to call forth and spark some fresh, what would you call it? Like just a fresh inspiration in our valley, so that people can come out and say, okay, I can monetize this idea. Right. Or I can push through this barrier and keep my nonprofit open. I don't have to necessarily close the doors. There's a message that needs to keep going out in our community to inspire. Yeah. And so I love that you're doing that with this podcast. You're not just having chats to chat,
right?
But there's like a message behind it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because I need to piggyback off that because I say this a lot because a lot of people one. Just the fact that you started, you never failed, right? Yeah. And that's the point I want to make because a lot of people have all these ideas, right? Like, what was that thing that I forgot who was on the show who said, "Where's the richest people at in the world?"
Oh no, that's me. Yeah, I asked.
Oh, you said that?
Yeah, I asked. Do you know where the wealthiest
what people are in the world?
In the world, do you know where they are? Do you have an idea?
Some.
Where?
Where would you say?
They're, West Coast, East Coast, other countries, they're everywhere.
Dubai.
No.
Dubai.
It's the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Because so many people have so many ideas and they never start anything.
Okay,
right?
That's good.
But it's facts though, and it's because like when we sit here and we talk about like messaging, marketing, and all this stuff, right? People overthink things, and it's great that we do need to do all that stuff, but at the same time, it's like just start.
Yeah,
because I get a lot of people they like the podcast and they talk to me all the time. They're like, "Oh, I want to do a podcast," but then they overthink it. Like I was talking to somebody that day and it took them 4 months to do one episode, and I'm like, why? Like why? Just do it because you do the first one. Guess what? Then you're gonna listen to it. Then do the second one. You're gonna grow. It's a growth thing. Yeah. Don't be scared to just start, and then. You like in business, you scale your business, right? Yes. Amazon started off in a garage. Right. Like he didn't start off with these huge warehouses. Like just start it and then scale from there, right? No matter what you do. But I think people overthink things and they hear us talking about a lot of things, which is great. Yes, apply these tips and tools that we're giving you, but still start. Don't say, well, I want everything to be perfect. Like, no, because nothing is ever perfect. Yeah. And to my point, well, I think I talked about this last episode. If you make a goal to make something perfect, now you reach your goal, then what?
Right.
What's after that?
Yeah. Right.
Like, and I forgot who said this. I talk to so many people all the time. Somebody said they don't never go 100%. They always go about 80% because they need that growth.
Oh, that was Ashley. That was Ashley that said that. Mm-hmm.
Ashley said that. Yeah. Wow. And it makes sense. It's like you don't ever want to be at 100% because then what? Then you just stop growing. You stop living. Yeah. Like no, it's a journey. It's a constant growth.
Mm-hmm. And to what you said too, a lot of people they think that it requires more than it does. Yeah. And so they talk themselves out of getting started because they think it requires more. Mm-hmm. EIN for your business is free. Right. And I came across a person who for years didn't start their business because they thought it cost to get an EIN. Wow. And we're not asking enough questions. There's not enough education. And so the other part of what we want to do is not just infuse finances, but educate business owners and nonprofit organizations as well.
And you know what? Another thing, and it goes back to what we were just talking about a little while ago, ego. People always try to make it a competition. So they want to be better than you. So they want everything to be, I want the lights better. I want the room to be painted, artwork. It's like, no, just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
Just do it. Like, stop making it a competition. Like, I told somebody, I told you the other day, somebody said they want to start a podcast. I was like, okay, cool, I'll help you. Like, I don't care. Like, I know you got a podcast. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah. Like, I'm not the only podcast out there. I don't want to be. Like, just like it's different foods, different drinks. It's like there's room for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, stop making it a competition, especially if it's your God-given talent. Like, God gave everybody a gift. Yeah. Yes. Right? So have passion with your gift and just do it. Stop worrying about and stop trying to make it a competition. Right?
Yes, True. Sir.
Like, when I started this, I didn't care. Like, Joe Rogan gets $1 million from Spotify. Like, I just do this. And I was talking to Darlene about this yesterday because she was asking me, you know, about the business and the growth and all that. I was like, I don't do it for money.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. I don't do this for money.
Yeah.
We don't get paid for this. At some point, I do plan on monetizing all of this, but right now, that's not my passion. That's not my goal here.
Yeah.
My goal is to really help people, to shine spotlights on women like you and your foundations, and to help the community. It's not about getting paid. That's my passion.
That's awesome.
And that's it. And so if people take the egos out of things and just start and just do it, stop worrying about the next person and stop trying to be better than the next person.
Wow.
And
Just do it.
themselves.
I love that mindset for the AV.
Right. Seriously, because it's enough for everybody.
It really is.
And if you just focus and stay in your lane and do your gift, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, do you remember that activity that we did in class where everyone put like a sticker on our back?
Oh yeah.
Remember when we were talking about character strengths?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny when you were saying that, you know, like finding the right people with their strengths. In reality, that's what we did in such a small room. We actually didn't see what people put on our back.
Yeah.
We didn't really know each other. We were getting to know each other, and we were actually putting, you know, something on their back on what we thought or what we saw.
Yeah. So the activity was like, okay, we were each given what, like stickers, blank stickers, labels, and we were told to write words that describe that person, but don't let them see it. Just stick it on their back. And so everyone was coming from across the room, like, you know, running for Diana and just putting a sticker on her back. And by the end, we were able to, you know, have them taken off and presented to us. And I mean, that was powerful, right? To see what other people saw in us that maybe we didn't see. Wow. So that was a great exercise.
Yeah, it was. And I think that that's also maybe what our community needs is to see the strengths, to know that we're individuals, to know that we're unique. But how can I utilize your strength, you know, like in what I'm doing?
Partnering, yeah.
Exactly, partnering. And when we do the workshops at the high schools, we actually do the character strengths, and we actually introduce ourselves as our superpowers. You know, like, for example, mine is love. And it always shows, and I'm not afraid to utilize that strength. And when I step into another room, you know, like I always get curious, like, I wonder what their character strength is. But in reality, it really is their superpowers.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like what you guys are doing. So I love that. So I just thought of that.
Let's go back to this activity because I actually like that.
Yeah.
It's so dope.
No, it is. So scenario. So if I thought, like, if you came off like bossy, kind of arrogant, all that, like, was there a situation like that? And how do you handle it?
No, there wasn't any, you know.
Was it all positive?
It was all positive. But what was really interesting is that there was an individual, and I won't say that his name. He was in the law enforcement, and there was just one, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that day, well, I actually made it my business to kind of sit next to everyone.
I know what you're talking about.
In that class. And I was like, I wonder what they're all about. And that day I happened to sit next to him, and we were doing that exercise. Turns out is that he's actually super funny. Like he had such a great sense of humor, and like we ended up like getting along very well. And as we were doing that exercise, everyone actually was complimenting the badge, not him as an individual.
Oh wow.
And that's what tripped me out, because he goes, I'm really not even a team player. Like, you know, there was thing bravery. He's like, I just kind of did it because it fell into play. And the reason why I took this workshop was because, one, I didn't have to come in my uniform, and two, so people could get to know who I am as an individual, not the badge. Nice. So it's funny because what I put on him was, you know, like a great sense of humor. Like he's funny. And I think I was the only one that really complimented him as an individual. Everything else. And it's funny because of course, I was like, you know, everyone was like, judging your badge. And he was like, yeah, I kind of felt that, you know, and he was teasing. He's like, man, they probably kicked me on my back or something. But it really brought so much awareness on how we might perceive someone without taking the time to actually get to know them. You know, like, and how we can stereotype based on that. So it was really interesting, you know, even as like, you know, different organizations, I think we as individuals should take the time to see what they're about, who they are, why.
Yeah.
There's always their why. And I think that's why we do the podcast. In reality is kind of like sit down and talk, like, why do you do what you do? You know, like what, you know, like
it's powerful because I don't know that people, maybe that's why people don't partner more, because there's that, there's that naivete. I don't know why you're doing what you're doing, so I can't get passionate with you about it. Right. And so this is powerful work because it's, I mean, I know that in business you look at stuff like this and you're like, oh, that's promotion, right? That's PR. That's marketers doing what they do. But in actuality, for our region, it's more than that. It's like you're offering opportunities for connectivity, which is what we need.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reason why I started it and started like really bringing business owners onto the show and getting to know them is because of that reason. Like, I felt like people needed to know their why and their backstory. Like, we see business, it's such a, like cliche, when you see business owners, you think they got it all together, right? You don't realize, like, they just like us. Like, we're all the same. You know, I don't care if I have a multi-billion-dollar business. You know, at some point, I was down there, you know, just like you, grinding. And like I said, Amazon, he started off in his garage. Ben Benzo. Like, I'm pretty sure he has a incredible backstory and adversities he went through that garage, you know. And even like, we talk about Darlene again. Like, when I heard her on the show, people look at her and be like, oh, she's an attorney, right? Yeah. She's beautiful, she's gracious, she's very knowledgeable, very smart and successful. But you never knew her story. And I was actually talking to Mark about this last night. Like, Darlene's story is incredible.
Yeah, it is. From
how she grew up and came to how she is now, owning her own business law firm on the boulevard. Like, come on now. Like, when people know that, then it's like, oh, they look at you differently.
Yeah, they do.
Like, in a great way. They have more respect for you. And even with business owners, even with Sam at Lucky Luke's, like, people don't know her story. Like, she got an incredible story. But you see her, she has 3 Lucky Luke's now, and you just think, oh, well, she was born with silver spoon. And it's like, no. Like, go listen to her story. Yeah. Like, and you have more respect. And even for me, like, a lot of these business owners, I go support them now because I know their story now. And it's like, oh, wow.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I think even when we were working on the entrepreneur project, that's actually what I did. I asked.
I remember.
You remember that?
That was your part of that was your contribution.
But, you know, the reason why I wanted to do that was because if we're going to put on an entrepreneur, you know, event, people should kind of know who it is that they're, you know, going to be listening to. You know, what is it that you're doing different? What can I learn from you? You know, and honestly, that was the most interesting thing that I've done, was get to know each one of you guys as an individual, you know. And I mean, Nicole,
I love that about you.
Your story was dope, you know, what you did and how you got your business started, you know, like that to me was just inspiring from all of you guys, even Vicky, you know, like getting to know what she was about and what got her to where she was. And it's funny because she mentioned Businesswoman of God when we had that too.
You're
and
like, I guess I gotta go now.
Yeah. And
all these people keep telling me.
Yeah. So, and even then she was like, you really should go, Diana. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, being around so many women, like, it's not my thing.
I had to definitely break through that too.
Okay.
Yeah. But how did it feel once you got there? Around all those women?
You know, it's funny because I was so moved. And I actually asked if I can do something like, man, I would love to do gratitude for women. That's you know, cool. Like to do, cool. You know, like do just a talk. Because as women, I don't think we know how to love each other because we don't know how to love ourselves. We walk into a room and we're already looking at that girl like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what does she got? Oh, look at that. Oh, I can do. Well, it doesn't matter what she's doing. Worry about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. In all reality. And to me, it's like, it's like, oh my God, you look so cute. But it's so rare, honestly, for a girl to really give another girl a compliment. Yeah. Because it's kind of like, right. You know what I'm saying? It's probably fake. Like, are you, and it's funny because I've actually been asked that, are you always that positive? And I was like, Yeah, I guess I am. You know what I mean? Because I'm not afraid to say hello to a stranger, because in reality, everyone has a story.
Everyone.
And I guess that's where my curiosity comes from.
Well,
Mike said, what?
no, because I mean, no, you are always positive, right? But I think people misconstrue that. It's like, no, well, we have our bad days.
Yeah,
no,
you do.
I can be negative. Like if you like, I can go there if I want to. We don't choose to.
Right.
We choose to, like we choose happiness when we wake up. We don't choose violence. A lot of people wake up choosing violence.
Okay.
It's going to be Savage Saturday.
You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, I think that question. No, I mean, we're not always perfect.
No, I'm
we're
far
not.
from it.
Yeah, so and that's what I mean. I'm not trying to be negative right now, but I think I'm not saying this is a fair question, but I think people misconstrue that when they like see you, like, oh, so you always that positive. You just think you the shit, and you.
Yeah,
like, no,
or
I'm a real person.
We
choose to be positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Am I making sense?
Yeah. But I think anybody that asks that question, they really want it. They want to be positive too, and I think that it's the jealousy. And it's the not knowing how to be that themselves.
Right. But it's a choice, like I said.
That makes them question you, judge you, instead of just saying, how are you like that?
Right.
Yeah.
How can I get there?
Easy. It's a choice. Wake up and choose that.
Yeah.
Even that.
Period.
Yeah, even when I've seen you, Danny, I was like, "Oh, come bring it in." You know what I'm saying? I do. Like, come give me a hug.
Yes, you do. And it's interesting because I don't always come across like you can just do that. But I am. You know, it's just Nicole and I were talking, I think last night, about how she said there's a side that people don't really get to see of you all the time because you're always so business and focused on doing. And you do. You just kind of come in and I'm like, okay.
You bring it out of her.
Bring it in.
Yes.
But I think that's just something that I've always been that way. You know, even the new kid, I was that person's like, hey, how are you? My name's Diana. What brings you here? You know, but I think it's always been my curiosity. It really is.
Yeah, your curiosity. Yeah.
It really is. And that's why I made it my business when I, when I did the cab, to sit next to everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that about you. Honestly, you were the only one in class that did that.
Yeah,
you were just like the flutter. You were just everywhere.
Yeah, hopped around even with Nardi. I was like, "What's that, girl?"
What's curiosity? What number are you?
Curiosity. That was one of my top 5s as well.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it's one of my top 5. Yeah, and that's how I see it. But it's true, like my grandmother, she would call me inventora, like inventor. That's what it meant, because I was always getting into something, always creating something. Like, all my cousins are here, be like, all right, look, we're going to play Power Rangers. You're this, you're that. And then here comes this.
How cute.
But all the time, and my grandmother would always tell me that. And to this day, like, now I laugh back because I was like, you know what? It's so true.
You're still like that.
I really am. My kids would be like, why do you talk to strangers? Be like, because you never know what you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
You really never learn.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's just me in a nutshell.
There's more to you than never know.
Yeah, no. So Miss Nicole, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Miss Nicole, tell us a little bit more about you.
That's what I was gonna say.
Were you okay?
Cool.
I'm like, where should I start?
Let's talk about your build. What is it? Build with Nicole. What is that?
Yeah. Building with Nicole is my tagline for Built to Build Studio, which is my company. It's an LLC here in the AV. Established in 2021. What we do is social media marketing, social media management, and also business consulting. So I like to help fellow entrepreneurs kind of strategize, lay out a vision plan, and then kind of help them task it out so that it's an actual system. So I like to kind of think of myself as an infrastructurist. So one of the gifts that the Lord's blessed me with is to be able to hear your heart on something and then be able to kind of like reverse engineer it into a task list of sorts to kind of get you moving. Mm-hmm. And so it's been interesting, like as you get older and you get more settled and you're not doing the ego thing and the competition thing, and then you're actually yielded to like your purpose. Mm-hmm. I'm noticing how the Lord uses me. And I reference the Lord often because I am a faith-based business. and a believer. And so the way he uses me is incredible, because I thought I was like this. You know, I know y'all can't see it on the podcast, but I thought I was like itty bitty, right?
You got a camera on you.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. So I thought I was itty bitty, and the Lord is like, me in you is super huge. So just let me do what I do through you. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm a conduit. So that's kind of how he uses me in the marketplace, is to help other business owners to identify any kind of lack or need, and create a structure that's monetizable. And so whether that's through marketing, like you said, the message, that's why I was like, all right, I can deal with Mike, because Mike, he understands that marketing is more than just like a cool graphic. When you can put marketing in front of a true system, that's when you start seeing businesses flourish, and that's what I'm passionate about. So yeah, and I'm passionate about people. So there's definitely a community component to what I do too. Business Women of God, or whether it's teens or youth, you know, mentorship. I'm all about that, because I feel like it can't stop with us, right?
Yeah.
It really can't. So we have to be duplicating something in our community so that it's here when we're gone. So that's actually how we touched base recently again, was at Business Women of God. I've been teaching a program called Build for the Future. And it's an incubator of sorts for entrepreneurs. It's a task list of 40 tasks that takes you from ideation all the way to monetization and scaling. And so I'm passionate about teaching. And, you know, even if I know this much, I'm passionate about pouring that out, because I feel like someone did that for me. So it gave me movement when they poured into me. So I love opportunities where I can pour back, which is how Danielle and I partnered on the Joseph Project. My heart for the Joseph Project came because I saw, for honestly one of the first times, a for-profit or several for-profit entities and nonprofit entities forming around an idea. You usually will see like a group of nonprofits or a group of for-profits, but this was one of the unique times that I saw several people at the table that were in all fields, from ministry to government to, like, I was like, all of y'all care about the community? Yeah. For me, it was a first in the AV to see a conglomeration of hearts for people. And so that's why I was like, I need to plug in with the Joseph Project, because it's not just, it's not just nonprofits and it's not just nonprofits, it's for-profits coming together saying, we see a fiscal need in the community. How can we start an endowment? And I love that movement. I love that for our community. I feel like that's been the missing link, is the partnership. Mm-hmm. It's the partnership. Yeah. And that's not always monetary, but in this instance it is. But the partnership in general is what I believe has been lacking. We all reference it as silos, right? We've all, you're individually great at this. You're individually great at this. I'm individually great. But it's like something when we all four came in the room and made this podcast, that's going to inspire somebody to move.
Right.
It's powerful.
So let's go back. I want to go back way back into your childhood somewhere.
Oh, snap. Let me get my tissue.
Because, I mean, you still look like a baby. You look like you're like your early 20s.
No, I wish. I'm 41.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I said too. Remember, I was like, dude,
we still got it, girl.
So,
that's right. You
mentioned something, and it was going to be a question for mine, that someone did it for you, right?
Yeah.
So way back, like where did all this passion come from?
Man,
I know it's because everybody's story starts when they're a child.
Yeah.
Like something happened. Like what was it like that got you onto this path?
Sure. I was speaking at a local school recently, and the Lord brought to my remembrance my key mentors, like along the way. Mm-hmm. And I would say that my heart toward people and business started when I was like 16. Okay. My high school senior arts teacher, her name was Miss Simon. She coached me through building a portfolio to get into art school. So my background is in the visual and performing arts, right? So she coached me to get a discipline of creating an art piece daily so that I could have enough in my portfolio to apply for art school. long story made short, she taught me discipline, and she taught me to love monetizing what I do. So I had, by the end of the senior high school year, I had like 200 pieces, because she literally was like on me every morning, like, where's your piece? What'd you do last night when you went home? So I became like disciplined in producing. And then when I had all this work, she was like, all right, part of your senior project is to open, have a gallery opening, and we're going to showcase all your work. And I remember curating my first art show at 16 and selling everything and making like hundreds and thousands. Like, I just was making money at 16. And I was like, I made all this money for college, and I didn't know I had monetization potential, right? So what I found through her mentorship is that I didn't love art as much as I loved monetization. So it's like I went to art school. I ended up getting accepted into California Institute of the Arts, and I did go through that process. But really what I learned is I love helping people do what they do awesomely and learn how to monetize it. It's something about that process that I was like, that's my calling. It's because I watched her put a system together. She was like, if you produce this, and you put an event together, and you put all that on the wall, you can make a living off that. I was like, for real? That's all you had to tell me. Okay. Because then now the possibilities are endless, right? And so that's kind of where it started. Okay. Then I went on through college and decided art ain't it. I want to do business. And so I stopped art and went back to school for business. I got my bachelor's and master's, and now in my doctorate program for business. I was like being mentored now by a woman of God named Carolyn Jefferson, and now by a woman of God named Dr. Brett Griffin. And I'm looking at how the Lord utilized these two women to put a polish on me. Because when you're not, see, y'all gonna get me preaching. When you're not polished and you have gift only, you could just potentially be all over the place. Because you start seeing stuff. I go, oh, I know how to monetize this podcast. Oh, I know how to monetize this Crush Your Goals set. Oh, I know how to monetize selling coffee. It's like, as a creative person, you could just go everywhere. Because it's like you see business in everything. It starts to stand out to you because that's your gift. And I remember Carolyn Jefferson, Evangelist Carolyn, saying, all right, let's hone this. Let's focus it in and get off of you for a second. Like, how can you take what you do and pour it in and duplicate to somebody? I never thought of that. I was like doing silo stuff. And so she helped me kind of understand that our gifts aren't just for us, right? And so she was like, whether that's through ministry or giving back in the community or doing something, she's like, don't be a hoarder of all that. Pour it into somebody, right? Then I'm gonna shut up.
No, please.
Then the Lord showed me this the other day. I was like, whoa, like, you've been having me around like powerhouse women since I was 16. Then he introduced me to Dr. Brett Griffin, who is like, I reference her as a kingdom expert, but really and truthfully, she's a coach, she's a leader, and she's a teacher of the Bible. And but the reason I say kingdom expert is because she understands beyond the scope of words in the Bible. She's more like, she imparts movement into people. And that's what, to bring it back to Mike's question, where'd I get all this passion from? Honestly, it's from the Lord. But it's also because I see the need for movement. There's a lot of laziness that has fallen on gifted people. Or like you said, was it you, Mike, that said you'll find a lot of rich people in the grave?
Right.
There's like a complacency that's fallen on truly gifted people who could build and grow a business but don't because of fear or lack of knowledge or whatever. And so Dr. Brett is helping me to understand that business, good business, is movemental, and there's a structure around it. There's a government there that we don't really talk about. And if we plug into it, it could amass great fruit. Like this type of stuff, I'm all about it, because it's like we can move quicker and faster and better together in unity than we could disjoined.
Right.
So you're right. It is a passion. It's something I could talk about all day. Is that business is bigger than a sale. And then I'll say this and I'll close because I'll be like talking forever.
We got a bunch of batteries down here.
Okay, see, because now y'all got me.
No,
juiced.
please.
I feel like that's one of the biggest misconceptions in business too, is that we're only in business for the dollar, right?
Right.
So another one of my like war cries is that God's heart for people is so huge. He's more concerned about the soul than the sale. And it's like, however we can position our nonprofits, for-profits, community efforts toward people, there's money attached to that. But we don't go for people first. We go for the product or the service first. Like, I design websites the best in the AV. All right, you might make a couple G's a month doing that. But what if you could teach 12 teenagers how to build dope websites for free?
You know
What if you taught them that and then they went and built, right? I get stoked.
You know,
I get
it's,
geeked.
it's crazy about everything you're saying is so 1,000% true.
Dope.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Dope.
so I got presented with an opportunity like years ago, and that's how I got into entertainment, right? Because I started off with a graphic design company.
Okay.
That's my background, and this executive producer saw my work somewhere.
Okay.
And he presented me with an opportunity. He said, "Look, Mike, I'm developing a show that I would love for you to help me develop."
Yeah.
And he said, "You can charge me whatever you want to do this project, but it'll just be a one-off. Charge me whatever you want, I'll pay it. Or you can come work with me exclusively and just charge me a little bit right now because I'm trying to build something." So I did. I chose, go and work with him exclusively. And over the years, and I was just telling Darlene this story yesterday. Over the years, like one of my mentors taught me at a young age. He said, "Always chase your passion, never chase money, because money will always present itself." Right?
Yeah.
So I always kept that in my mind. So that's why I took that deal. And I did so many free work, or people would come to me, "Hey, Mike, you know what? I'm building this. I'm doing this. Can you do a graphic? Can you do a logo for me? Whatever." And I would just do it. And they would just give me whatever. Like, I never heard he had set a price list.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was telling Darlene yesterday, I was like, you know what? Because she was asking me about the show and all this, and we was just talking like financials. And I was like, you know what? I don't chase the money. I've never been that person. But if you look at I'm 52 years old. I just turned 52.
No way.
I just turned 52 a couple of weeks ago. I said, but if you look at my life, I've been so extremely blessed with so much.
Come on.
Like, it's like I travel the world. I do all kind of stuff. I get new cars every 2 years. Like, I'm on my second house. And I look at it and I'm like, damn, how did I do that when I never chased the money?
Blessed.
God. I'm a firm believer. What you put out there, you get back tenfold.
Come on.
Yes.
And that's why I never worried about the money, because he always got me. Always
real.
got me.
That's real.
And I know a lot of people are like, I don't talk about God a lot. I'm more spirituality, but God is always my foundation.
For real.
Like, he's my partner. He's my partner.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I keep that between me and him. Like, I have a personal relationship with him.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
As you should.
And
That's
he has me so much. Like, even though, like, I'm still human, right? So I go through my bad days, and you know this. Like, I go through my struggles and all that. But I think the difference, what I always tell people, because people always ask me, Mike, how do you sound so positive? Because they just hear me on the show, they see my IG and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I have my bad days. The difference is, I know tomorrow's going to be better.
Yep.
I know that for a fact.
Mike.
I know I'm just going through this motion, going through the process. But I know tomorrow is always going to be better than yesterday.
It is.
I know that for a fact. And I think that's just my mindset. So even if I have a bad day today, I'm like, okay, cool. It might last 5 minutes, it might last 5 hours. Hell, some days when my bad days are really bad, I go home and I go to sleep because I know for a fact that he got me, and tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up, it's going to be better. I think that's just my mindset.
Good.
But I have my bad, you know it. I be moody sometimes.
He's like, you seen it?
Oh, she's seen it. Because she be calling me, she be like, Mike, wake up, good morning, lady. And I'm be like, sometimes I be looking at the phone like, damn, Diana.
But you have to, but in order to grow, you have to recognize it, right? You have to be able to process through it in order to grow from it.
Yeah.
Because if you just ignore it, how are you ever going to learn from it? You're going to continue to make the same mistake over and over and over, So, you should never ignore any of that. It's okay to not be okay.
That's good.
But you're right. But back to my point is like you said, like, people should just never chase the money. Just do your gift, your passion.
Yeah.
you're gonna be okay. And I said this at the top of the show, you're gonna be okay.
You are.
100%. Like, take that money, because I'm going through this with a situation now where someone is like just chasing money, and it's no fault to their own, because like I know a lot of rich people, I know a lot of billionaires, millionaires, and those type of people, and I don't take nothing away from them because they build empires, right?
Yeah.
But they're so tunnel vision on business. They take the humanity out of things.
We can't do that.
You can't.
We can't.
But at the same time, because I understand business,
Yeah.
so I get what you're trying to do. And sometimes when you're so tunnel vision on that, it's like I'm trying to, like, a huge empire I'm talking about. Like, you can't worry about the small things, right? But and I get building a business, but when you're in a situation or organization and you're trying to help people,
Yeah.
you can't be that tunnel vision on business.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta have empathy, compassion for people. You can't take the humanity out of it.
See, he over here preaching a whole
Like,
sermon.
you can't.
That's real.
Like, it don't.
That's real.
Yes,
I mean, you can, but what you gonna have, an empty shell of a business?
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
With no
you can,
heart, no
yeah,
soul.
but like, wow.
I think it's so important to educate that you have to have both working in partnership, right? You have to be skilled.
Yeah.
You can't just be filled, right? That's what you shout out Mama Carolyn. You gotta have skill. You can't be talking about I'm a believer and you whack. Like you gotta be. See,
I didn't want to go there because there's so many people that talk about that, and it's like, you can't talk about God and you want to do this and that, but yet you over here doing this. Like, that's godly.
representing all whack.
You can't have it both ways.
Right. But so it's like, yeah, you got to be dope. You got to know, you got to know your stuff, but you can't just be pushing people out like that ain't God's main heart.
Right.
He loves people. It's like, you have to find a way to co-labor with the Lord and build right.
And you know, and I
can't
said
build.
this.
Yeah.
I said this a few shows ago about talking about because people everybody has their own religion, everybody has their own belief, and I respect everybody, right? I'm not saying you got to believe in what I believe in. You ain't got to whatever, like whatever you believe in, whatever gets you through your day and it makes you happy, whatever. I'm cool with it. But because people always talking about why you do this, why you do it? Why you always talking about God? Why you doing it? It's like if God wanted everybody the same, don't you think He would have made everybody the same? Right. He made everybody different for a reason. That's why I love diversity. Yeah. Because He made everybody. For sure. He made all this stuff.
For sure.
So it's like, stop saying, oh, God don't like that. God wouldn't do that. I mean, I get like the other parts, but no, if that person want to believe in whatever, cool. God loves everybody.
Yes, He does.
He does love everyone.
Yes, He does.
I'm going to stop reading.
No, that's
we don't open up sermon cans.
No, but see, that's key. You know, that's another thing that I was doing. You know, I love people watching. You know, and I trip out on that. Be like, we're so unique, even animals. You know what I mean? Like, God created all of that. You know, He really did, and we're not all the same. They're not all the same. So I love watching people as individuals. Like, man, that's so dope. Like, that's so unique. Like, they're so different, or even from their hair. And we were talking about that with Ashley on the last segment, is as simple as your hair. You know what I mean? Like, some people want to wear it whatever way, but that's what makes them as an individual.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So that's dope. I like
so,
that.
Nicole, because you over there quiet.
Oh, Danielle.
I mean, Danielle, sorry.
See, now who's the one messing up?
Hey, well, first of all, if you listen to my show, everybody knows I'm bad with names. So that's nothing new. Danielle.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked her. Let's go back to your childhood. Where does all your passion come from?
So my childhood was different. I shouldn't say different. My mom was my she was my role model, and you know, my mom was she always excelled in business. She was just excellent woman. I saw my mom as this beautiful, exceptional woman. Since my childhood, and my whole purpose was to be like her. And so my childhood was different in that I had some Church of God in Christ. Then my dad is a musician, and so we came to California chasing my dad's musician dreams. And so, you know, so we went through that, went through Jehovah's Witness for a little bit. And so I had all these different things going on. religiously in my head, but there was always my mom. My mom was a very hard. She was a hard woman because she was hard on herself, and she was broken, and so she just knew how to be who she was, and she didn't have mentors. She didn't have anyone to pour into her to help refine and hone who she was. So all I got was to raw her. So I learned perfectionism and performance. And so I was just trying to be perfect and perform to get my mother's approval, but I wanted to be like her because she was phenomenal. But then at the same time, I had these different insecurities that also I sat on myself. But I knew one thing: I wanted to be a businesswoman. And at the time, I wasn't necessarily thinking people, because you said something a little while ago, and you said that they were so focused on business they lost humanity. Well, Dr. Brett, who's also my mentor, that's the one thing she helped me to do, is to find my humanity, because I was very much like that, focused so much on business. And then the Lord brought me my daughter, who also helped to get me to the point of understanding humanity, because I was almost robotic in what I was doing, because logistically, numbers wise, I got it and I can get it and I can do it, but I was missing the people part. And that's because I learned performance and to try to be perfect.
So let me ask you this, because you was talking about systems earlier, and I talked about this before. So when you had your daughter, am I to assume is that when you became into the I system? Because we was all born into the we system.
Yeah.
Until you get older, until you find your own way, and then you become the I system. If you understand what I'm saying.
So
you understand what I'm saying?
I never heard of the I.
So cause I've read this book. It's called The Bradshaw Story, or The Bradshaw Family, or something. I forget it. This book, and my therapist actually gave it to me. He said, you need to read this book. So I did it. We are all born into the we system. So when we're born, like we're not given our names, right? We are our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our aunts, our uncles, and our environment. Wherever we was born, we're in that we system. That's who we are. As an adult, you grow into an I system where you become your own individual. You're not your parents no more. You're not your wherever environment, whoever raised you. You're not that no more. So that's what I mean by, you become into the I system. You're your own person now.
Yeah, your own.
But some adults don't grow into that. They're still in that we system, like, all the other people that's doing the bad in the world is because that's how they was raised. That's how their environment was, and they're still in that we system. They never grew out of that we system there. You know what I mean?
So let me divulge this. I don't tell most people, but I guess I'm about to tell all of your audience. So
it's just 5 people.
My daughter's adopted. Okay. She was my parents' goddaughter at a church we all went to together. But then and she was always in the system. She was born into the system. And so then the Lord brought her into our home. But at the time, my mother was in the process of dying. And so she was on her deathbed. And so because she needed parenting, my father was focused on my mother. And so once my mother passed in 2017, instead of them putting this little girl back through a whole lot of changes, they just moved me the system, just allowed me to step in. And I then became her mother. And my father, her papa, but technically he's her dad. So she's adopted. So the I system, if I'm understanding it properly, for me came when I really started giving my life to the Lord in 2012, really 2013. But when I met Dr. Brett Griffin again and Dr. Antoinette Hewitt, these ladies was always helping, trying to get me out of where I was. And so, because in business, because I did in high school, I went to Chatsworth High School, and I always wanted to be a business person. We started a company. I was the president of the company. We actually created product. We got a loan from the bank. We went to the Chamber of Commerce out there, and I was sitting around all these businessmen, these great minds pouring into me in 12th grade. And then, I went to college, got into management. I was actually chasing the money. I was actually chasing the money, so I didn't finish college because I started making good money, and I excelled in management. Well, I was my mother's child, so I excelled, and again lost track of people because there was so much other things, so much hurt and damage, and I just let me close off this part. And so I did. And so the Lord had to open me back up to that. And Nicole is huge in that, because I look at Nicole and I'm like, see, I want that when I grow up, though I'm 10 years her senior. So I guess I told my age, but so for me, once I gave my life to the Lord, because I've been saved since 90, but there was all this other stuff that I had. So I didn't give God my life. I just said I did. I really became a believer in 2013. And so once that happened, then I began to see who God had made me to be and what he gave me and what did he give it to me for. And so when I started my company, Kingdom Aligned Management, which is an LLC, I worked for free, almost for years. And I would call people begging them, what can I do for you? Can I help you do anything? Can I research? Can I help you start something? Can I establish? Dr. Brett would call, I need you to do this for this person and just do it. Well, don't worry about charging them, just do it. And I would just, and so I would build to the point to this day, I don't have a price list. I kind of follow. I do have some kind of price list, but for the most part, if I charge $1,200 and the Lord says no, you do it for $600, you do it for that's where I'm at now, because now I'm not chasing the money. Right. I'm trying to help build people in systems and structures, really structures. I don't build people, I build structures, and so that's why we partner well, because I'll build the structure and Nicole brings the infrastructure to what we put together. And so I still am system focused, but I now can see people and take my time now to see what is it that you need, and see if you stay like the businessman you talked about, you give people what you want them to have instead of seeing what they need and giving them that. Right. And so that's been the turning point for me. And so,
force feed.
So exactly.
That's
and
so powerful.
And I was sitting there listening to Nicole, and I was like, I can't remember mentors that poured into my life, because my focus was not people. My focus was money and things. And I was like, wow, how unfortunate. But amen, thank God I'm not that person anymore. I'm growing to be better all the time. But still, I knew I could tell you why I got the way I got. Now we're changing. But so my real change came when Dr. Brett and I was reintroduced to Dr. Brett and Dr. Antoinette Hewitt, and I began to see God's heart for people and how to serve with the gift he gave me. See, before, people just used it because they saw I had something, and so people would use me, and because I wanted their approval, I allowed it, and then when they were done with me, they threw me away. So I got harder and harder and harder, moved more and more away, and it's like, okay, now we need to break all that down so that we can give people, so you can learn to serve people and learn to serve a community, and so that's where my heart is now, to help serve in the community.
So you actually started walking your path and walking your truth, and that's the I system. You became into the I system.
Okay.
Yeah. She said, okay.
Yeah.
Taught me something.
No, bro. Like everybody has their own path, and I guess that's just another way of saying, you became into the I system. You're not walking your parents' path. You're anyone else's path. You're on your own path now.
Yes.
And that's the I system.
Okay.
That's cool.
And we call it the psychological safety. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if it's not a hell yes, it needs to be a hell no.
Yeah.
No, honestly, you remember that?
I remember Lewis teaching that.
Right.
I was like, go, Lewis.
It's the truth.
Seriously.
But exactly what you were saying.
Yeah.
It's just that. It's exercising the yes and the no's. Like to build your psychological safety. And these are, again, tools that we are utilizing, but not knowing how to recognize them. Yeah. And just reintroducing and saying it, now you know it. You're like, oh shit, okay. Yeah. You know what? That's a hell no. And it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna feel so good. And that's what he's saying, the I and the we. Yeah. As a child, you're told what to eat, you're told what to wear, where to go, when to sleep, when to wake up, when to do everything. But the I system, that's when you build your own psychological safety, meaning what makes you feel good. What do you like to eat? Like you'll eat eggs your whole life and come to realize as an adult, you know what? I really don't like that. And you can then say, I don't want this. But as a child growing up, that's what if that's on the table, that's what you either eat that or nothing at all. You know what I'm saying?
You know, and it's true. And,
Yeah.
you know, I taught my kids this at a young age. You know, I used to tell them all the time, like, and it goes back to how, you know, I tell people, like, even like in relationships, right? I tell people, like, I'm not responsible for your happiness. Just like you're not responsible for my happiness, right? And that's how a lot of relationships end, because they try to make each other happy. And it's like, no, you're responsible for your own. And I taught my kids that at a young age. And I taught them, like, hey, I'm not responsible for how your life turns out. I'm going to give you these tools while you're a kid, right? And I'm always going to support you. But the decisions you make today are your decisions and how you're going to be when you grow up. Right? Because I'm teaching them to be into their own eye system. Don't live your life on the things that I did, because what I did worked for me. Yeah. Not to say, because you're my child, don't mean it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we guide them and give them the tools, but at the same time, they got to go out and be on their own and walk their own path, stay in their own lanes.
Yeah, like what you were saying, Nicole, you're like, I'm looking at all of this and I'm thinking as an individual how I can help you, not how I can change you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, knowledge is power, and people don't really understand that. You know, like, instead of being told what to do, how about you show me what to do? You know, and a lot of people don't do that. You know, they want to follow the leader. You know, and being told, no, you're an individual, utilize that strength.
See, you don't want to get me started on imposter syndrome. Because that happens, right? In community building and business building. Is we're like, well, Mike is so dope. Like, he does marketing so well. I want to be like Mike. And it's like, that's so dangerous. Because, Mike's dope, but he's in his lane. Like, ask the Lord, where's yours? Go get in that and be great there. As opposed to trying to, like what we were saying, like trying to adapt this persona that might not be your purpose. And that's so dangerous. It's like,
and the thing is, do you want to go through what Mike went through to be where Mike is? Okay. Can I go through what Mike went through? Could I even? I can't even fathom going through what my daughter went through. If you see her and then you hear her life, it wouldn't match. But the girl is awesome and she's strong and resilient. But could I have gone through that at her age? Nah, I didn't have the mental fortitude. So the thing is that's why it's dangerous too, to want to be like somebody, because you got to go through what Mike went through to get here, what Diana went through to get here, what Nicole went through to get here, and everybody don't even understand. We don't understand it.
Right. You know, my no, and you're 100% right. Like, my journey started, I think, when I was 12 years old. Like, I never had a 9-to-5 job.
Okay.
Wow.
Like, never had a 9-to-5 job.
That's real cool.
And my journey started when I was 12 years old. I told this story a few times, but I used to work with disabled kids.
Okay.
Right. My sister used to take me to the park every Saturday, and I used to do activities with disabled kids. At 12 years old, I was having fun doing that. Like, I looked forward to that every Saturday morning, not knowing God was preparing me. So when my son was born, he was born with cerebral palsy. So he was born with a disability. So that's where my passion comes into play. When I always tell you I love working with kids. All my career, I've worked with kids. Like, to this day, I'm the AYSO. One of the head coaches for the disabled soccer league in Valencia.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So my TV show that I helped create for 20-some years, like, it was working with kids. Like, I've always worked with kids. That's where my passion comes from. And it's because of the way I grew up. Like, I didn't grow up with parents, and the way I grew up in the neighborhood, like, I've always wanted to work with kids to show them, like, you don't have to, settle for the gang life or the hood life. Like, there's more out there. And I was very blessed and fortunate for someone to take me out of the hood and show me a different life. Like, literally, I know it's cliche. It's like somebody literally took me to Hollywood. And this is a true story. And I saw the lights in the studios, and I was like, oh, shit, this is where I want to be. Like, I want to be. Like, nice. So that's why I love working with kids. And that's why my journey started a long time ago, and it gave me that passion.
Wow.
Right. And that's why I do what I do, because I want to show people that there's a different way. Yeah. Like, you don't have to stay in that weed system.
Yeah.
That environment. Like, if you don't like it, you can change it. Anybody, you don't have to, your environment is not like, you're not in a cage.
Yeah.
Like people try to put us in, or people try to keep us in this box. It's like, no, you can move. You can break those barriers. You can get out that street. Like, there's roads that lead to anywhere you want.
Yeah, that's good. That's so cool. Now I want to hear your story.
Oh my God, we don't have all day today.
Yes, that's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. No, it's funny because I always do these crush your goals.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny how it lines up with today's conversation. And I always say this, it always lines up for whatever reason. And
I can tell you, it's the purpose. Yeah,
it really is the purpose of this, you know. And actually, Yolanda from our coalition, she actually gave these to me for my birthday. So today it comes from Dolly Parton, and it says, "Do not confuse dreams with wishes. There is a difference. Dreams are where you visualize yourself being successful at what's important to you to accomplish, and dream build convictions." So that's actually kind of what we were talking about. You know, you just kind of gotta do it. You know, and that saying came from Les Brown. I started listening to his to his YouTube videos on just, you know, what is it, building the better you or something like that. And that's what tripped me out. And that always stayed with me when he asked that. Do you know where the most successful and wealthiest people are? And it was a trip for him to say, it's a cemetery, but it's so true because so many people one day, you know, when I get that money, I'm going to do.
How many times have you heard this?
And you never know what tomorrow holds. And that could be the end of you, you know? So that's why I'm so thankful Mike's letting me do what I do on here.
Yeah.
Stop it. So, Nicole and Danielle, what do you want to leave us with?
Well, I want to invite folks. What you want to do?
Yes, please.
I mean, please, the platform is yours.
Okay, well, we really want to invite people out to our first big event for the Joseph Project. It's called Superhero Saturday, and it'll be March 11th at Amazing Events. And did you want to elaborate on what it is?
Where's it located? Or
That's in Lancaster. It's on Division, right next to the Primo,
Oh,
between
okay.
J and Avenue J and Avenue K. And so it's a workshop where we're going to have tax specialists. We're going to have a specialist in nonprofit development speaking. And we're also going to, tax specialist is Cynthia Hernandez, a family tax in law, right down the street here, one of the directions. And then our nonprofit development specialist is Kim Watson of Project Joy. And then we're going to have a social media and marketing specialist in a person of Nicole McMillian. That's also going to be our speakers. So we want to be able to build the nonprofit in the thriving businesses. As I'm switching that vernacular now to the thriving businesses and we want to equip them. So it's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's a $25 donation. And then we're also at that time giving our first endowment to one of the nonprofits or thriving businesses that has been nominated for our endowment. So we'll be giving our first endowment at that event as well.
So cool.
Oh, what a blessing.
Yeah. So the nominations link, if you want to buy a ticket or even if you want to be a vendor, I don't know that we still have too many vendor tables left, but if you want to do either of those three things, you can visit www.thejosephproject.global. So we hope to see you there.
And do you guys have a flyer for this?
We
Yes.
do. It's
So you send it to us and tag us in it, and we'll reshare it on our social media.
Thank you.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. We'll do.
Thank you.
That's all you guys got?
I
Any
always-
words
I
of
always
wisdom?
got
Any
more.
words
Yeah.
of
Come on, Nicole.
Come on, Nicole. Where's the words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom.
Yeah. I remember you saying longevity. That word stayed with me from the
from
last.
businesswomen of God.
Yeah,
That's good.
about the kingdom.
That's something I really cling to. Perhaps that would be a good closing thought. Is that what we're building as community members, organizations, business owners, to stop thinking about the immediate need, right? Because I know we're all post-COVID trying to make a dollar. I get it. There's definitely that immediate need to thrive and survive even, but to consider the future. Build for sustainability, build for longevity, consider that your business is bigger than you and it's going to be here past you. And so build from that perspective of how can I strategically place this and strategically do what I do for existing past this moment. I think that's something that I really cling to, and I'm cognizant of when I'm doing business. Yeah, for sure.
And Miss Danielle.
You know, I would say that consider other people before you consider yourself. I think if we've lost that, we really have lost that. And out here, it's hard, because in the Antelope Valley, we talked about it earlier, how hard it is out here. And so consider putting somebody else first. Consider their position first. Consider what they're saying before you focus on just yourself, because then you can start communicating and you can have a conversation and really take offense out of the equation. Because when we focus there and we get offended, we automatically we're off, and we can't go any further. And that's in personal relationships, and that's in our business relationships as well, because it's time for us to start coming together, all of us, not all the black people, not black lives, all lives matter. All of us, it's time for all of us to come together, and the only way we'll do that is if we start considering their mind and their perspective instead of just ours, as if ours is the only way, because it's really not.
I love
That's
that.
deep. I like that.
Love it.
Well, we want to say thank you to you guys.
I love that track.
What track?
What you planned, your music track?
Really?
You had it on in the beginning too. I love it.
I made this.
Nuh-uh.
Shut up.
He's
I was trying not to get my rock on with it. I was trying.
Oh, I have an album. It's on iTunes.
Oh,
This is out there. Actually, I made this track during COVID, and because I grew up in the music industry, honestly, and
well, you probably know my dad.
yeah, I grew up in the music industry, but I got out like 4 years later, and I went over to TV. I'm a structured person. I didn't like how music was structured, but music is always true to my heart. So by growing up in the music industry, and a lot of my close friends are like musicians and true artists out there, I always wanted to make an album. And during COVID, I went and bought equipment and I made an album. And I made this track. And this track is actually not on my album, but I just made it. But my nephew, he's a hip hop artist, and he was at my house one day, and he was listening to it, and he was like, "Hey, can I do something with that?" I was like, "Absolutely." So I took him down to the studio in Pasadena, and
Nice.
he made this song, and it was supposed to be on Madden's video game, but never got put on there. But so I just
I could
released
see
it.
that.
Yeah, it's actually called Champion.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's
the
tight.
track is called Champion. So it's out there, but I use the instrumental because I just love it.
Okay,
That's
superheroes. That's
I
your
do a
anthem.
lot. I mean, I told you I never had a 9 to 5, so I'm a hustler.
Okay, I got you.
You sure are a superhero.
No, you know what? Honestly, 100%. That's why I tell people to do it, because I'm a prime example of that. If I want to do something, I just do it. I don't
Yeah.
care how it's going to turn out. Like me making my album, I actually literally made an album with 8 songs on it. It wasn't to sell 1 million records or to be an artist. It's because I wanted to do it. It was something on my bucket list. I just wanted to do it, and I did it. And that's why I preach that. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
It's something that I accomplished. Like, I felt so good when I did it. And now that it's out on there, like, I think I check it like maybe once every 4 or 5 months. Like, because I don't care about the money or
Yeah.
the sales. I did it for me. And I actually want to do another album. I just got to be in that music mode.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It was like therapeutic to me.
There you go.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's why I tell people just do it. I don't know.
Just do it.
Anyways, with that said, I'm going to piggyback off that. So what I have to say is have no regret. What you're going through today is what's going to make you who you are tomorrow. I have no regrets on anything I ever did in life because it made me who I am.
Hey, that part.
But thank you, ladies, for coming and joining.
Yay.
I actually had an
Thank you for
incredible
having us.
time here today. I learned so much. I feel so blessed to even be in your presence right now. Thank you for what you do for our community.
Yes.
Ditto. Thank you guys
Thank
for what
you.
you do, for creating opportunities, holding space for these conversations.
Yeah.
No, all
We
the time.
appreciate y'all.
And anytime you want to come back, please feel free. Reach out to us, and we'd love to have you. Anytime you want to share something with us, tag us in it, share it. We'll
Thank
share it.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we out of here.
We out.
Wow.
Be well.
Party like a Gotti.
Hey.
Party like a Gotti.